Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How are we getting on? Welcome to a brand new camp build. Today, I thought we'd build a kind of traditional English pub, or at least as close as we can get, as I felt the Brotherhood of Steel's various members might need somewhere to blow off a bit of steam. So, let's jump into this one. Okay, so yeah, I wanted to build a kind of pub, and I thought a traditional English vibe would be quite cool. No, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense in West Virginia, but you know, neither does a lighthouse, so whatever. So let's have a look at where we are. So, right up here on the main road that runs past Fort Atlas there. The weird thing about this spot is it looks like it's a little bit to the south and way over to the east there. But when you're actually in the game, it kind of feels like it's off to the north a bit more. You kind of keep going north past Fort Atlas, and it's on the corner there. And so we've got top of the world just down this way, and the White Spring all the way down here. For a little bit of wider context. So yeah, I've built here before, did a Blue Ridge outpost a while ago, and it's not a bad little spot, this. I did want somewhere close by to Fort Atlas for the Brotherhood members to drop by, so yeah, this is basically the best spot, as flat as we're going to get. So here we are, just on the corner. There's a few bits in the way, but push it back a little bit and we're okay. We can clear some of the ground. So, foundations. This is basically going to start out as a 4x4. We're actually going to end up taking the front row off and adding a few extra bits on, but for now, 4x4 with a couple of bits on the side. So we've got those two bits there that on the left that are going to be extra. So they're going to be where our stairwell is. And there's our back row. Now we're going to need one in the corner there. And we're going to need a couple more sticking off the back just here. That's where we'll have a crafting room. Somewhere to brew the beer and also make it a functional camp. So, a slightly odd-shaped foundation in. Let's get some walls in. So basically what I'm going to do first is use the contemporary set here and run all the way around the outside with doors, as for about 2/3 of the front of it, or the front 2/3 rather, I'm going to double up and then have wallpaper on the outside, so we've got a bit of contrast with the lower and upper portions. You'll see what I'm on about in a bit. But I'm still kind of making my mind up exactly how and where windows and doors and things are going to go and where I'm going to put those bits of wallpaper, so for now we'll just run all the way around the outside using these doorways. So if you want to see sort of sources of inspiration, then just hop onto Google and just Google like London pubs and stuff like that. There's loads of pictures on there on an image search that'll give you the general vibe I had in mind anyway. So, we've got the outer walls in. Let's get some inner walls in. I'm going to go onto this black brick set that came from the season a little while ago, earlier this year. Quite a cool set, but I can kind of use it a bit situationally. With that particular set of walls in, we'll get a doorway just here. This one we will double up, which is why we're using the contemporary set, because it doubles up easier than other ones. And this one here is going to cause a problem. And we'll double up there as well, because I want a double-sided wall. So this section here is where the toilets are going to be. So again, a couple of double-sided walls there, so we can wallpaper both sides for the separate toilets. So this front area is going to be the bar. But we're going to move upstairs before we do a little bit more. So we'll get the Guild of Antiquities staircase in. This one's going to give us room to get around it, which is always helpful. And it looks quite nice too. So we'll put some upper floors in, because we're going to need those in and the upper walls as well before we can progress. So we'll whip this door out as it's blocking my staircase. My floor rather, attached to the stairs. And we're going to put this floor in just over the main square part of the foundation. The bits that stick out at the back there, we're not going to have an upper floor over. So, with those all in place, now we can move on to adjusting some of the walls. Now we can see what we're doing a little better. And we'll head back upstairs in a sec. So, now I've got an idea of where I'm going. I'm going to change out some of these walls around the back of the building for the black stone ones again. I quite like the look. These ones on the back wall basically are just going to be plain single skin, so we can swap those out now, and we'll come around to the ones on the front in a little bit and make those double-sided ones. So we'll adjust these ones in the toilets first. There we go. And this bar section's where we're going to be doubling up. So we'll pop on through here and do these last few. This one here needs to be a black stone one as well. I'll change that for a window in a moment. Here we go. And do these last couple as well. As I said before, the front sort of 2/3 is where we're going to double up in the end. I'm still making my mind up here. Can you tell? So, there we go. Now we're going to jump up to the top and put some upper walls in, because we're going to double up below, but having the upper walls in first is just generally a bit easier to get them in rather than doing it after you've doubled things up. They'll try and go the wrong way around and all manner of stuff like that. So just easier to do this a little bit first. So, with that first lot in, we can start doubling these front walls up. So back to the contemporary set and the doorway. There we go. Now we'll slap the second row on. Straight over. We need the extra foundation to allow us to do that as well. But now, we don't need these extra foundations. We can pull them off, and we'll just move this one around. Although, I am going to put the last couple of walls up here as well, just because, the same reason as before, but we're going a bit further around than I had initially thought. So, we'll make these adjustments now, and then I don't struggle with it later. So, get that one in there, and there. Just do the ones around the stairs. Put one in the front here. I'm actually going to swap that out in a bit, but we'll come to that in a moment. And there's the last one. Right, that should make life a lot easier. Let's finish off doubling these walls up downstairs. Right, find the right set again. There we go. Nice. The doorways felt a little better on the contemporary set for what I was going for, so that's one of the reasons I went for it. And also it does allow you to double up much more easily than some of the sets do. Some are a bit finicky with it, some work just fine, so contemporary set's great for doing this. There we go. I'm going to come along this side as well. Now we are sort of 2/3 of the way around the thing, with the back just being single-skinned. So, with all those doubled up, let's swap them over for windows. Where I want the windows, anyway. So, we'll just progress all the way around, and on this sort of angle here in the corner, that's where I've decided I want the door. With the outside done, we can now repeat the procedure on the inside. So everything matches up, neat and tidy. There we go, all the way around. And we're pretty much coming together now. Got the general vibe of the place. I'm going to slap a foundation outside the door here just to make that entrance a little better. I had to play around with it, but ended up sticking more or less with this here. And now let's get some wallpaper on. So for a bit of contrast, I'm going to use the green monster one as it contrasts quite nicely with the brickwork up top. But you can use other ones if you so desire. There's certainly other options that work quite well for this too if you haven't got that particular set. It's an Atomic Shop set, that one, so if you haven't, perhaps you might want to keep an eye out for. So, back in what will be the gents, I'm just needing to swap this wall out because I want a double-sided wall at the back there rather than being able to walk right through it. So there we go. I'll screw that up and put a window in, but I'll fix it later. And we'll head back upstairs. Onto the roofs, or part one of the roofs anyway. This is, as with a lot of this stuff, it's kind of do a bit now and then come back and do the next bit later. Not quite as clean and clear as I would like it to be, but that's just kind of the way this particular structure goes. So we're using the edged concrete sloped roofs here, because they're a little bit more interesting. And then this top section we're going to cover with the flat concrete ones. I actually do want ones with the kind of bit that sticks up on them, but we're going to have to swap out to those as they won't snap directly into place. So flat ones for the moment. Now I'll get a couple of these angled ones here on the back. And we can get some walls in. And I'm just going to go for plain, simple walls along the back. Here we go. Nice and easy. So, get some internal walls in now while we're still up here. We can double up some of these. For some reason this one over this section of stairs doesn't seem to want to cooperate. Not quite sure why. I think possibly because I don't already have a double wall down below it. But I ended up just deciding to not faff around with it, take the door off and just have an open kind of corridor here. And I'm quite happy with how it came out in the end. It looks quite nice and comfortable. I do want to double up the walls along here, though, to create the internal rooms. Unfortunately, because we've got a set of walls down below, they're kind of preventing this upper section from snapping in. Which took me a couple of minutes to figure out. But I got there eventually. So for now, we'll just stick the ones in that will go in. We'll just run along the line here. There we go. It's still not playing ball. And then when I figure this out, we'll pop downstairs and change them over. Or rather, we'll just whip these ones out for a moment. The back of the bar area. Head back upstairs again. Now we can double them up. There we go. Problem solved. So we'll just swap these back out for walls. I want the walls there. And door. And a wall. So I want 2 rooms on this top section. Could have put more in, but then I wouldn't have been able to squeeze bathrooms in. So, you know, kept it simple. And to divide this off, because we're going to have the sloped roof to work with, I'm going to keep it simple and just go with an accent wall. We'll use these brick ones again. Just drop a half in there, and then an angled one on the top. Fortunately, the roof slats kind of hide the fact that there's a bit of fascia on that wall, so it works quite well though. And there we go. Swap this door out again, because I don't need that. Nice. Now I've got a nice corridor, and a couple of bedrooms here as well. Win. Right, we'll shoot back downstairs, and now we can put these walls back in, now we've got the upper ones in. find the black set again. There we go. Make sure we get them the right way round. Nice. Much easier. Weird build order things. So speaking of weird build order things, we're back in the back room here. That will be our crafting space. And this door does not want to go in for some weird reason that makes no sense. But if we take that floor above it off, there we go. Just fine. God knows. It's strange, it's weird, but heck, as long as we can figure out what the problem is, we'll be cooking on gas, as they say. So, last couple of bits of the walls to do. I'm going to stick some rustic sort of triangle pieces in here from the rustic greenhouse set, just to get a little bit of natural light into our crafting space. And we've more or less got the structure done now. Last couple of bits before we head on to touring, decorating and all that stuff. I'm going to head up to the roof and swap these flat roofs out. As you can see, they're the wrong way around. I'll spin them around, and then I'll be able to swap them out for the edged pieces that I actually want up here. But for some reason, as I say, those pieces I actually do want up here just won't snap straight in. In some circumstances they will, but not in this one. I don't get it, it's weird. But this sort of workaround does solve the problem. With a little bit of faffing when I figure out which way around I actually want the roofs. Make sure I swap them back to the flat. Now I can turn them around again. And then we can change it to the right one. Now, I messed around with that bit a little bit, so we'll skip on a tiny little bit. And there we go. I would have liked to have edged the rest of this with the other set. But I'd end up with roofs that didn't match up and were back to front and all manner of stuff on the inside. This roof set is a bit finicky in some ways with what works and what doesn't and what looks tidy. So, last thing I want to do is just swap this single wall out for two halves and stick some windows in there, just so that it matches up with the rest of the front look of the building. See, we've got windows along most of the rest of the top there. I'm actually going to change one out later, but this way it just kind of matches a little bit better. So put window there, and one on the top there. And on that note, I think it's time we headed off, decorated, and had a look at the finished tour of this place. So here we go, tour time. I swapped one of the windows out there for a blank one, mostly for the decoration inside, but it gave me a nice little spot that I was able to put most of a name for the pub on. And as we're just outside the Atlas Observatory, I decided to call it the Astronauts. They seem to have lost a few letters though, so what can we do? I'm smack on the limit of the build budget here, so that's one of the reasons we're missing a few letters. The other reason is that we don't actually have the right letters in that set, with it being the Greek letter set, so we'll have to make do. It works, gives it a slight post-apocalyptic edge. So there we go, nice little sort of two-tone look to the building. This approachable entranceway. Put a few brambles around to kind of hide the foundations a bit, and the shelter entrance just on the left there. We'll head into the bar. Here we go. Glad I got to use those cream sort of snapping sofas there to create the benches all around the walls. Definitely got the right vibe with those going. Really happy about that. They went in really, really easily actually. No problem whatsoever. Wanted a set of tables in here that were sufficiently rustic to look like a pub, and that set there provided quite nicely. And they don't take up too much room either. A few bar stools, the tills on there. Used the Thanksgiving display cases there. I wanted something that kind of matched the bar on the back, but I also wanted to put stuff on display, and I couldn't have both. So Thanksgiving display cases it is. So we've got some drinks up on display. The Xion and the Maya Magic Moonshine look really great on the shelves there. Squeezed a bar piece in on the end there just to make sure we had a sink in here. Jukebox in the corner, cause you gotta. Take a quick look at the facilities, which are pretty basic, but they do the job. Might have to do a bit of queuing, as there's only one loo, but, you know, well, one loo for the guys and one for the girls. Put a couple of vending machines in there that I'm assuming are not dispensing food, but they're dispensing something more practical. There we go, got the sign up the top there as well. If you put them on the sides of these walls with the wallpaper, the signs, for some reason, beside the doors, I mean, disappear into the wallpaper. So, I don't know, it's a bit weird. But sticking them on top works. There we go, basically the same thing. Try and get that door to close. There we go. Nice, everything you need. A few of the wall lights on as well, along with the pictures, just to really catch that kind of old school fittings that old-fashioned British pubs have. A mixture of the carpet out front and then a little bit of the bare stone floor around the bar works quite nicely as well. Gotta have a dartboard too. Stuck the Brotherhood logo up over the bar as well, because it's going to be mainly visited by Brotherhood members in this area anyway. Cigarette machine in the corner. Got a fridge for those cold drinks. And loads of stuff out back. I didn't have any glassware to put on the display cases, so I went with steins. We're using the Vault 76 ones from a recent season, as they're less weird, I guess, which is where I wanted to go for here. So let's head through the door into the private area, also the way up towards the bedrooms. Tuck the punch card machine in just at the bottom of the stairs, so it's nice and easy to access. And if we want to use our head cannon, we can imagine that the staff can punch in for work there. Ice machine, got to have one of those in a bar. We'll have spare barrels down there. And into our crafting room. So as usual, I did want this to be a functional camp, hence the crafting room, and it also gives us somewhere to produce the booze as well. Hitting both of those there. And yeah, only a small little room, 2x2 on the back here, but everything we need fits in quite nicely. Decided to tuck the power armor station in the corner, just to do things a bit differently to my usual way. And yeah, it works alright, you can access it, it's fine. Liking this new brick set from the current season as well. It's quite nice and clean. Well, not really clean, it's not the right word, but the light colour of it's quite cool. It gives quite a nice vibe. Especially contrasts quite nicely with the black stonework that we've got on this back wall here on the left, and around the windows too. But I wanted a kind of plainer doorway here rather than the one with a kind of stained glass by it for this internal space. That's why I went with the one I did. Yeah, everything fits in. We've got some of the stuff sticking out from the walls just to make things a bit more interesting in its shape. But plenty of room to move around and access everything we need. Quite happy. Loads and loads of stuff on the walls to decorate it as well. Some ways I feel like I should have pulled some bits off there and put them in other places just to kind of maybe even out the decoration a little bit more, but it works as it is, so quite happy with that. So we will swing around the corner and head upstairs. Squeeze that yellow lamp in because I needed a little bit of lighting in this stairwell. Not so much lighting upstairs because by the time I got up here I was really struggling on the budget, but it works. So just basic decoration in the corridor here. A few bits and pieces just stored up there. Stuck the old one-armed bandit up there. I would have had it downstairs, but a bit of a space issue really, so I figure it's just been shoved up here to make better use of the space. A few bits and pieces of decoration up here, again keeping it simple just because of the budget requirements. Figure this first room is going to be where the landlord lives. So it's a bit more cosy, homey vibe. Got the fireplace in the corner there. Really easy to snap that through the roof as well. Just take the roof off, put the fireplace in, and then snap the roof back on afterwards, and then you've got your chimney outside. That also meant I didn't want the window right next to it. Nice little bed tucked in there with all the essentials. Got to have your plushies. A few little bits of plants and stuff to give it that homely touch. A couple of different types of wallpaper there, just to add a bit of variety. Simple little shower room in the corner. Just the old one floor piece converted to a bathroom. Just enough space to add everything we need. I've used the rustic sink here because when you do an upstairs bathroom with the clean set, the bottom of the legs of the sink stick through the ceiling into the room below, which kind of bugs me. It's really quite annoying actually. So I went with the rustic set to avoid that. So there we go. That's the landlord's little bedroom home space. We'll progress along the corridor. I wanted something at the end of this corridor to fill it up and of a decent size, but something that wouldn't take up too much of the budget either, so that's why I went for the piano. Bit of an odd option and thing to have in there, but it kind of fills up that otherwise big gap quite nicely. So this is the guest bedroom. It's more of a dormitory than a bedroom really. It's like a load of bunk beds in here. I figure the only people who'd really stay here would be passing caravan hands. Anybody from the Brotherhood will walk back over to the Force at the end of the night. So I figured a few bunks would actually make a bit more sense in here in some ways. Especially as we just got the one room. Basically got the same deal going on with the bathroom here. In fact, it's almost identical. Just because limited space, limited options available. This is one of the better combinations of furniture, I guess. At least IMO anyway. And I quite like how it's come out. There we go. Accent wall looking quite nice on the side there as well. Kind of works with the new wallpaper as well. That means you can kind of bring everything together quite nicely. A little bit annoyed that the tree clips through in the corner, and I would have replaced it with one that I'd manually placed, but again, budgetary considerations. There we go, a couple of little bits and pieces just on the tables there. I don't use these tables very often, but because considering we've got clean and tidy look to the place, I thought they looked quite good. Plans for those are available over at the White Spring, so quite nice little bit of furniture to use once in a while, and it's a bit different, which is always a win. So there we go, as close as I can get to a traditional English pub in Fallout, which I think came out quite nicely. I like this spot. Gets the vibe. Do wish we had some hand pull pumps and stuff, and beer taps to go on the bar, but sadly we do not. So I guess they're just dispensing from bottles, but I don't imagine anybody in the apocalypse is going to miss it, really. They'll just be glad to have a drink somewhere. And looking a little nicer, a little cleaner and tidier than the Waitwood does, so hey, definitely winning there. There we go. I hope you guys enjoyed this little walk around. I really, really like this little place. If you did enjoy the video, please do consider dropping subs and likes for me. I do very much appreciate it. Down below the video as well, you can find social media links, a merch store, channel memberships, all that good stuff. If you are interested in supporting the channel in that way, I hugely appreciate it. Very, very much helps out. So massive thank you to everyone who's done that as well. And if you get a chance, do join us for live streams as well. Oh, of course, we are playing Fallout 76. And we're playing The Witcher 2 as well at the moment that I'm really, really enjoying. So I do hope I'll be seeing you there. But for now, thank you very much for watching. And I look forward to speaking to you all very, very soon.